34.28. That's 543. Other current. $737. 95.58. Okay. I'm not going to do it today, but if you think about it, if you follow these ratios over time, let's say your total asset turnover has been declining recently. So your total efficiency is coming down, which means your capital intensity ratio is going up, right? Capital intensity ratio multiplied by 365 is basically days sales in total assets. If you follow these over time, you can figure out what is or what are the reasons behind that decline in my efficiency. Is it because my inventory management is less efficient? Or is it because my receivables, I collect them later than I used to? Or something has to do with other current assets? So these further decomposition actually allows you to look into finer parts of what you want to call asset efficiency. So in that sense, there are different ways of looking at decomposition of ROA. As kind of a homework for you, why don't you guys do a similar thing for Kroger and Walmart over the last few years using Yahoo numbers? Let's see what they have available as annual numbers. Yeah, balance sheet is available for the last 4 years, for fiscal years. Income statement is only for the last three, so just do it for the last 3 years and see what happened to those. And let's kind of have a little discussion on that, all right? So that's your assignment as a preparation for Wednesday's class. I'll write it up on an announcement so that you can go ahead and do that. Now let's do we did the baby DuPont, let's do the Papa DuPont, okay? Nobody calls that Papa DuPont, I do. And those of you who are wondering why I picked them, called them Baby DuPont and Papa DuPont, anybody from Haiti around here? Okay. Uh, Back in 70s and 80s, there was a dictator in Haiti called Duvalier. Okay, the older guy was known as the Papa Doc because he was a doctor, and his son, who was even a more of a brute, than his father. When you get your power from your father, you tend to be an a-hole. He was known as the baby duck. So Papa Duck, baby duck, Papa Dupont, baby Dupont. Papa Dupont is basically takes ROA, which is net income over total equity, and decomposes that into its components. Well, I'm going to multiply this by total assets over total assets. And if you rearrange net income over total equity, I'm sorry, total assets times total assets over total equity. You probably recognize this as ROA, and this is 1 plus that equity ratio. And we also call this equity multiplier. Okay. So that means I can write ROA ROE, I'm sorry, as ROA times equity multiplier, or expand using the baby DuPont we just found upstairs. So just like ROA, I can decompose return on equity into three things. One, you may be making a lot of money per dollar of sales. That's profit margin. Two, you're using your assets efficiently. Per dollar of assets, you generate a lot of sales. And three, you have a lot of leverage. Okay, you're using other people's money to make money. In that sense, that's what leverage is. So let's find out the EM numbers for. Let's remind ourselves for Walmart, Kroger, because we just found them upstairs. So where are they? 748, 544. Was that 544? Yeah. And let's also remember the total assets, 673.82, 149.88. Yes, my memory is that good. I can actually keep them in my head. It used to be I could look at four numbers like that and keep them in my head. Huh? Oh, thank you. When you remember the wrong set of numbers, it doesn't matter how good your memory is. That's how nature gets you. 263, 40, 50, 51. And let's get the total equity numbers. And balance sheet, quarterly. And total equity gross minority interest. That's the number you want to look at, 94.47. And I'm going to explain you what that means. You may not be able to find that in your book. $12.89. Here, total equity is, I think, net of. For now, gross minority interest. Ideally, you should use the net one, but any of you know what that minority interest means? It's not the interest of the, recognized minorities. It has nothing to do with sociology. By law, at least by US regulations, financial statements need to be consolidated. So if I have subsidiaries, let's say I'm Walmart and I have a separate subsidiary for purchasing, I have to consolidate their financial statements. So when I'm doing my balance sheet, I'm going to take the parent Walmart and add all the assets of subsidiaries and any subsidiary or any affiliated company in which I have a controlling interest. It doesn't even have to be 100% known. I have to add them. I have to do the same thing for income statements. The reason you do this, you want to prevent something called tunneling. At least the Koreans call it tunneling. I'll give you a scenario, and Korean industry is dominated by industrial groups called chobols. Okay, Japanese used to have the same thing before the Second World War. They were called the zaibatsu, and after that, they were called the keiretsu.